Evening, everyone. Welcome. We have no audience participation this evening. Before the meeting starts, I still have announcements to make. In case of a fire, a bell will ring continuously. If this occurs, please leave the building immediately following the green fire exit signs out to the assembly point, which is by the War Memorial on Duke Street. If anyone requires assistance, please let me know. Lifts should not be used. Please remain at the assembly point and do not attempt to return into the building until you've been advised that it's safe to do so. The toilets are situated on the landing at the top of the main staircase and on the ground floor in customer service. Please turn off your mobile phones during the meeting. Anyone attending is entitled to film it, but only officers, councillors and anyone sitting round these tables may be filmed. The meeting is also being broadcast via YouTube and recorded. When speaking, remind you, I will, to turn on your microphones and speak closely into it. Thank you. Now, before we start tonight, I am going to request your indulgence and ask for a minute's silence in memory of former Councillor Ian Wright, who chaired this committee, I think, for 18 years. He's been a good friend to everyone on planning, and we miss him very much. So if you don't mind, if we can stand, we'll have a minute's silence. Thank you. Right, apologies for absence, please.
Thank you, Chair. I've had apologies from Councillors Papa, Pooley and Tron. Councillor Clark is subbing for Councillor Pooley and Councillor Walsh for Councillor Tron. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Declarations of interest. All members are reminded they must disclose any interests they know they have in items of business on the meeting's agenda. Do we have anyone? No? Okay, that's good. Moving on to the minutes then of July 23rd, 2024. Is it your wish that I sign them as a true record? Thank you. Thanks very much. There is public question time, but there aren't any public internet. We move on then to Rectory Lane Car Park East, Rectory Lane, Chelmsford, and the number is 2400293/FUL. And there's also a piece on the green sheet, I believe. I don't know whether everybody's seen that. Okay. Thank you. Okay, can we have the officer's report, please?
Of course. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. So I'm going to be presenting this item. It's for the redevelopment of Rectory Lane Car Park East for 22 affordable rent residential apartments. It is located on the junction where Chelmsford Valley Road meets Rectory Lane. It's within the city centre, and it's allocated as growth site 1M. Nearby is the Keenholme Conservation Area, and adjacent to the site is public open space, which is a cemetery associated with a non-designated heritage asset. Here we've got some photographs of the site and the context. So we can see on the top left image is the front of the side of the site that faces Rectory Lane. So it's a narrower part of the site, and it has hedging that goes along Chelmsford Valley Road. It's accessed vertically from the north, which you can see in the bottom right photograph, and it's adjacent to two-storey residential property. This is the proposal here, so we can see a visualisation of the proposed building. It's still going to be accessed from the north, like the existing car park. Here we can see the footprint of the building. So the larger part of the building, the ground floor would provide parking, cycle, storage and refuge, and the upper floors would provide 20 apartments. The smaller part of the building would provide 2 apartments. So the scale, as you can see from the visualisation on the bottom left, the building is up to 4 stories in height, and it reduces down to 2 stories as it approaches Rectory Lane. This is the floor plans, which shows, as I mentioned earlier, the ground floor that has the parking, and then the upper floor with the apartments. The first and second floor is the same, which is the bottom left, and then you've got the third floor, which is the recessed upper floor. This shows the relationships with the nearest residential properties. The nearest residential properties are all 2-storey. So we've got the properties on Rectory Lane, Henry Road, and you can see here that there's adequate distances to prevent any overlooking or overbearing impacts on those residents. The scheme will provide over 10% biodiversity net gain. 14 new trees will be planted. As per our tree planting advice note, we require 3 trees per dwelling. So on this site that equals 57, so 14 of those trees will be planted on site, and a financial contribution will be requested for the further 52. And a financial contribution would also be provided for local open space, local healthcare and RAMS. The scheme represents sustainable development. It's located within the city centre and has good access to public transport and services. It provides affordable housing, which meets a need for the borough. The impact on residential amenity is acceptable. There's no overriding impact on non-designated heritage assets, and minor impacts are outweighed by the public benefits of the proposal. The application has been presented to committee as it is a city council application, and it has received an objection from local residents. All contributions have been agreed by the council's corporate property manager, and the application is recommended for approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, since there are no audience in, you've all seen the information for and against the application, so I'll go straight over to the committee. Can I see who would like to speak first? Come on. For or against? Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chair. As usual, thank you for very comprehensive reports. As usual with these, I go through the plans first, have a load of questions, then go through the report, and 9 times out of 10, most of those questions are answered. I have to say I quite like this scheme, the fact that it is 100% affordable, it's in a local plan. I'm impressed with the amounts of green energy solutions that have been put in there, the heat source pumps, the solar panels on the roofs, etc. I like the way that it doesn't impose on is it Rectory Road or Rectory Lane?
Rectory Lane.
Rectory Lane, the tapering. You could probably squeeze more on this site, but I think it's for the benefit of the city not to be properly chock-a-blocking these developments in, so that's good to see. But one query with regards to the electric car charging. 647 says there's all the spaces in the Undercroft have electric car charging points, and there are 4 beyond that without charging points. But condition 16 says that all will have charging points. So that's my only query. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Our supplementary, our guidance requires an electric charging point to be provided for all parking spaces for residential properties. The condition is there to ensure that all parking spaces will receive an electric charging point.
Can I come back on that? Yeah, 647 states specifically there are 4 spaces beyond this area without charging points.
Yeah, that's correct. The idea of the condition was to ensure that electric charging points could then be provided to all parking spaces, not just the ones that are specified on the plans.
Right, okay, so those 4 will have charging spaces?
Correct.
Right, okay, fine, thank you.
Well, that was something I noticed as well. I didn't quite understand, so it wasn't that clear, I don't think. Okay, thank you. Who else would like to speak? No? Good heavens. Hopefully that's a good sign then. In that case, if nobody else wants to speak, unless someone comes up with something now, I shall move that the application 24000293 FUL, Rectory Lane. Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss you? You're obviously too small.
Apologies, Chair. Yeah, I'm too sorry. No one's ever said that to me, Chair, but thank you. Sorry to come in so late. Yeah, just really seeing that the accommodation here is principally 1 and 2 bedroom accommodation, and I think we're often told, aren't we, for the affordable housing that the real need is in 3 and 4 bedroom housing. So just wondering really why perhaps there wasn't more provision for larger dwellings, appreciating that the limitations on this site, it's quite a small site, but just wondering perhaps what the rationale is for that. Thank you.
Obviously, I can't comment on why the applicant has applied for this number of units. They obviously consider there to be a need for more 2 beds than family properties in this particular site. This site is only providing apartment accommodation, so obviously there's limited opportunities to provide amenity space, which may be why they've directed more towards the 2 bedroom units, potentially. But it would still meet a need that is expected within the borough, the 2 bedroom units.
Okay. There you are, you've started your train.
Sorry.
Councillor Armstrong.
It was just another comment again. Scheme is good, it's affordable housing or social housing, which is great.
That's good, I asked for comments.
The car parking bays for the visitors, I think there's space anyway, but some people, obviously for work reasons, might require a work van who may be requiring these properties, and there's no actual van designated spaces. Has that been considered within the application?
Hello. Thank you for the question. Our parking standards don't actually require a van space to be provided. It requires the parking spaces to be measuring 2.9 by 5.5, which should hopefully fit a small van in that area. So we'd hope that there would be sufficient space for anyone who needs a van for work to fit within that space.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else before I try again? No? Definitely no? Okay. I move application 24000293/FUL, Rectory Lane Car Park East, be approved subject to the conditions on pages 14 to 21 of the agenda pack. Do I have a seconder? I do. All those in favour? Yes. Oh, is there any Abstention at all? No. In that case, it's carried. Thank you. The application is carried. Now, I know this is a small planning meeting tonight, but please have a look at your the planning. Sorry, where is it? The other planning items, anyway, planning appeals, at your leisure. Therefore, I couldn't find the word. Thanks to everyone. I will close the meeting. Thank you.